We've all been there before. We're sitting there watching some TV show, something useless, mindless, eating a bag of Cheetos, completely oblivious to what's going on. So what's going on here? So, hey guys, it's Ben with the Health Matrix. We're breaking free of these chains that keep us in this programmed state of mind of fear, propaganda, financial ruin, all types of issues, right? The world is a scary place right now. There's a lot going on, but there's a lot of belief systems that we have to break in order to get to our better selves and come from a higher state. So I want to talk about this conscious versus unconscious thinking. And the example I used right there, when you're sitting there and you're just eating Cheetos and watching the Kardashians or whatever, it's your brain state is in what's called beta. And you don't really have to know a lot about these brain states, but there's different types and different frequencies that your brain is operating at. And when you're in the mindless state, you're operating at an unconscious level. You're also very susceptible to programming. That's why people watch TV and they don't really realize what's going into their brains in these programs they watch, or when they're just listening to some mindless podcast and they're not really paying attention to it. It's just there in the background and they're just mindlessly moving around. I keep using that word mindless because that's what it is. That's where people get into problems. Is I've talked about this before with anxiety and depression, where none of these things exist if you're being conscious at the moment. Like right now, I'm looking into this camera, I'm not thinking about anything else. Therefore, I cannot have anxiety, I cannot have depression, right? Obviously, there's variables here as well, but for the most part, you see what I'm saying. That's one reason why working out is such a fantastic fix to anxiety, because it's an instant fix. Meaning, when you're deep in the grind, deep in that physical movement, and you're dedicated and you're flowing at the moment, you can't feel anxiety. I challenge someone to go through a hard workout, a CrossFit workout, go for a long run, go for a hike, a vigorous hike outdoors, and you have to try hard to be anxious at that moment. But what this all has to do with is when you make conscious decisions about eating and working out and making better choices about anything, it makes it a lot simpler and you get into that flow state. And that's when you start launching towards your goals and making it effortless. Because what happens when people start on their fitness journey, right? It happens to everyone. It happened to me. It'll happen to you. It happens all the time. Is people, they get daunted. They realize if they're trying to lose 200 pounds, that they're going to have to make a ton of small decisions and changes. They're going to have to get rid of a lot of these behaviors that are holding them back. They're going to have to change these behaviors, which is tough because your body gets ingrained with these patterns and doesn't want to change. An object in motion stays in motion, etc., right? So, you think about the long-term goal and you start to, again, think about the future and like, oh my God, this is going to be so tough. And then you're going to meet your first roadblock and you quit. Or you go back to those vices, which I know about very well firsthand with my journey. I'll talk more about that in other videos. That's one reason why you got to get rid of the vices. You got to strip them out and become a better person, a better version of yourself, and this all starts to become a lot easier because you will start to operate at a higher frequency from your higher self. And that to me is breaking out of the matrix. When you're in the matrix, you're operating under programs, just like the movie, right? You're subconsciously acting, just like I was talking about earlier. They say 95% of the time, to give or take, people are operating from programs that are already in there from society, from their friends and family, from different programming they've had, school, TV, the news, all this fun stuff, right? That keeps people in fear all day, tells them how bad they are, how sick they are. Take the medical industry for one, right? If you look at a TV commercial for a medication, the first thing they do is, you know, say, hey, do you have this symptom? And then, you know, does your skin itch? You might have this. And then the next thing people know, they're afraid of everything and they're hypochondriacs. But I digress. When you're operating 5% of the time, though, you're operating consciously. This is when you are making a emotionally detached decision based on what your goals are what your goals are, and making the proper decision at that moment without thinking about the future or the past or the regret or anything like that. And it can be as simple as just making that choice. I'm gonna get healthy food, right? That's the hardest thing, especially when you're traveling, especially when you're running around with your friends and other people that don't want to do it. They all want to go to Hardee's, they want to go to Wendy's, Taco Bell, whatever it is. You can find something, just make that decision at the moment, consciously. Don't just let yourself run the program. Oh, here's the Cheetos that I usually get. Here's the French fries and the burrito that I usually get, right? All this is going to do over time when you're disciplined like this, and discipline is key to this, and it's not easy, but you have to realize none of this is going to be easy. Breaking out of the matrix is not easy. Most people are stuck in it. Most people are horrendously stuck in it. But once you get better at it and you get some, what's the word I'm looking for? Momentum. You start getting momentum and you're reprogramming yourself to where the decisions become instantaneous and you no longer have to think about them. Like for me, I already go towards healthier foods. It doesn't mean that I don't eat unhealthy food here and there, right? You don't have to be perfect in my world. But my program is to go for quality protein, quality carbohydrates, and healthy fats. And then after that, I think, how can I make that taste good, right? Instead of the other way around, which is I'm looking for something that's going to hit my dopamine receptors and taste like candy, and I'll worry about the consequences later. Then next thing you know, you're out of shape, overweight, obese, type 2 diabetic, body's breaking down, and here we are. So making those conscious decisions, guys, again, this is reprogramming your brain. Think of it that way. And one thing you can do to really help out with this is meditation. And so you can do a lot of types of meditation, but the meditation that I really like is something you can do anywhere, which is you focus on your breathing, which is one of the big things I do is I breathe through my nose, right? It's better for you anyway. And it makes your jawline look better too. It's better for your teeth. There's a lot of things that nose breathing is good for. But when you focus on the breathing, like anytime you feel stressed and you're driving around in traffic and everything's going crazy, you can go back to the breath. You can always just go back to the breath. Okay, I feel that in my nose. Exhale. Do that a few times. Your body will reset. And it'll bring down your blood pressure. It'll bring down your anxiety, depression. It'll bring you back into the moment. It does a lot for your body. It releases nitric oxide. There's so much that breathing properly can do for you. But that's something you can do everywhere. You don't have to be sitting in the lotus position on a pillow. You can be breathing as you walk down the street. That's one reason I like to go for walks. I like to hike, is I'm focusing on my breathing. And after a while, it becomes a habit. You start to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, right? And I talk about anxiety and depression so much because it just seems like so many people seem to, quote unquote, suffer from these things needlessly when there is a solution. So making those conscious decisions, guys, you have to understand, first off, that most of the time you're operating from the subconscious, from the unconscious. You're just running a program. Now that you know that, you can change the program. Ditch the vices, ditch the things that bring you into a low vibrational state, right? alcohol, drugs, poor foods, mindless scrolling on social media, mindless TV watching, laying around, moping around, all that crappy stuff that you know is not good for you, right? And once you get rid of that, it makes it easier to reprogram yourself into these higher states, which is the workout, the physical fitness, the exertion, the heavy breathing, the endorphin rush. And guys, you can do it, right? And everything goes together and it makes it all a lot easier down the line. And then you reprogram yourself into a new person, literally at a cellular level. You're reprogramming your brain, your cells, your organs, everything, right? Don't listen to the propaganda. You don't have to go take a bunch of pills. Now, I mean, I'm not giving medical advice, obviously, and you can do whatever you want. You have free will. But going on these antidepressants for long periods of time is going to lower your frequency. It's not going to take care of the problem, and ultimately that problem is going to be there again when you get off. This is the new science, so that's why I never use any pharmaceutical drugs of any sort, because I don't need them. And you can get to that point too. So hope this helps, and talk to you guys in the next video.